On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
The biggest ass baby of this world will ever have seen or known. You
Ask
ain't
her.
that tough. You're
Ask
not
her.
that tough. So don't kind of come on the panel
So hold
like
on,
you're
Veronica,
so
Veronica.
tough and you're not. I'm sorry.
Ask her.
Let me say this. I've been on
Ask
coaching
her.
sessions where I'm close to being ready to cry
Listen,
because of the shit
the
that we
fuck?
actually be how deep we get into these books sometimes, and some of the stories that they actually be having, and you know what I'm saying. So yeah, sometimes
Thank
the
you.
appreciation they have for me, yeah,
Thank you.
that should have had me be
Thank
ready to
you
cry
for being.
sometimes.
Thank
So,
you
yeah.
for being honest, Mr. Let Go. And here's another thing. Why do you think you have tears in your body? Why do you think God put emotions in your body? For you not to
let
show
me tell
them
you
or
something.
display
Let me tell
this?
you something.
On a serious
Hold on.
note,
Wait.
It's nothing wrong.
Mr. Let Go. You
Thank
know
you,
you're fucking
Rashawn.
it up for everybody, right?
Yeah, he is.
Keep it
That's why
100.
she feel comfortable enough to say shit to me like, we know y'all crying and stuff.
What do
That's
you
because
mean?
you be over there
What
with
do
the
you mean?
sniffles. Right? There's always been a separation for how men treat you depending on how you carry yourself. So just because, for example, we like to put the majority of the responsibility on men, and it is a lot of responsibility that come on men when you decide to put your dick in something, so on and so forth. At the same time, you also got to understand that how we see you is how you present yourself. So if we only see you as a whole, that means that you displaying and exhibiting certain characteristics that align with hoes. And then it's a certain other group of women that we only look at as wives. But it seems like a lot of the women that want to be wives are saying that, but the hoes is getting all of the men. Well, you don't want to be treated like the hoes.
No, you don't.
Right? Like you want to be treated a certain type of way. And so if you show yourself a certain type of way, it's no way that I'm gonna treat you however it is any differently than what the minimum requirement is to get it. Men meet expectations. If the barrier to entry is here, why should I treat you here? That don't even make sense.
And we treat
why do
women
we treat you
totally
better than
different
hoes?
depending on who they are. Depending on who a woman is, we're going to treat you totally differently.
100%. And but you, Anton, when I see the line of questions that I asked Mr. Let Go this before, right? And this is the reason. I was getting to this point. Mr. Let Go will go off on these women all the time, and rightfully so, right? He has the data, he can rightfully so. But then I asked him, well, how do they act around you? Well, they don't act like that with me. I don't take that shit. So you saying that they conform to you and they know how to act with you is because you create a space for them to act like they supposed to act, right?
Well, the answer to that, there's a problematic side to that. Women people please. So women play a role and act like they are this in order to get in my presence versus somebody else. That's not who they truly are. So you got to be careful on the woman that is going to act right versus the woman that is right. And that's the thing that we all have to make sure we're aware of. So a woman who's acting a fool over here, she gets around me or you, she's acting right. She's a fool. She's acting over here. And that's the thing that is important for you to know. So that's why I be getting these women asses, because they ass need to get some therapy so they can be the same way in every environment instead of being in front of a certain man and placating to him and people pleasing and appeasing in order for her to get what he wants, because she could turn around and trick him because now he thinks she's a certain way and he turns around and marries her. And at some point she goes back to her, who she actually is. And now he's screwed.
You listen.
So they getting tricked.
Yo, right.
The majority of men.
I'm about to say no. Listen, we have
chameleon.
to do that. Listen, listen. Let me just say this: women know how to act depending on the man. Let's just make that perfectly clear here. I agree.
Depending on what she wants,
and depending on
key word is act though. You keep saying the word act,
bro. If you give them,
act,
if you say, but listen, if you say, going by what you said, that women are children, right? So no matter what you say, when they get that from your point of view, children act a certain way depending on who they're around. They know they can
children are who they are. It's children that act like this, and children are like that, and they are going to, if they, yes sir, no sir, or whatever. But at the end of the day, they still are the other way, and they're acting this way in order to get what they want. Same thing with women.
Right.
Men do this too.
Right.
But we got to get away from the people who act a certain way.
Okay.
But do you act like this, Mr. Lego, like all the time? The way you talk on the panel, that's how you talk to your wife?
Yes.
All the time? Is this your energy all day, every day?
That's exactly how this motherfucker talks.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Mr. Lego, he has another side to him. I mean, he does what he do.
Damn.
And no, I got to give credit where credit is due. He does what he needs to do when he needs to do it. And his coaching group actually is really good for the women. I stepped in there accidentally one night, and yeah, it's another side to him.
Are you a comedian?
It's another side to him. Sorry, one person at a time.
Nah, it's code switching.
You know he act like this.
Hold on, what'd you say, Anton?
In our group,
Is she saying that you're a chameleon?
No. Anton, you know what it is when
we're going over an actual book that is like really, deep and emotional and talking about childhood trauma and shit, and folks on the call about the cry and shit. Like, I'm not gonna shut your ass up. Hold on, bro.
It's not like
I'm not gonna be like.
What'd you say, Rashad?
He shows empathy and compassion.
Yeah, that's the best way of saying that's the best way to say he be crying in his goddamn coaching.
But you know what? Well, let me say this, Rashad. That's not funny because y'all try to play like
Veronica. That's my God. That's my God.
I know he's your God, but let's make it clear for the people that's in the comments thinking that if a man cry or show emotions that he's a simp.
You be crying, Mr. Let Go with the lady?
No, and see, Anton, if your wife left you today, you'd be the biggest crybaby on this earth. Yes, you would. You ain't that tough. I already peeped your whole heart. No, you're not. You run this game like you run your ship so tight, like you're a dictatorship. I promise you that if something happened and she left you, you'll be the biggest ass baby of this world will ever have seen or known. You ain't that tough. You're not that tough. So don't kind of come on the panel like you're so tough and you're not. I'm sorry.
Ask her.
Let me say this. I've been on coaching sessions where I'm close to being ready to cry.
Listen,
because of the shit that we actually how deep we get into these books sometimes, and some of the stories that they actually be having, and you know what I'm saying. So yeah, sometimes the appreciation they have for me, that should have had me be ready to cry sometimes.
Thank you for being honest, Mr. Let Go. And here's another thing: why do you think you have tears in your body? Why do you think God put emotions in your body? For you not to show them or display this.
On a serious note, wait.
It's nothing wrong.
Mr. Let Go, you know you're fucking it up for everybody, right?
Yeah, he is.
That's why she feel comfortable enough to say shit to me like, we know y'all crying and stuff. Because you be over there with the sniffles.